And we're live, coming to you from Gran Canaria, sunny Gran Canaria, last night here. And you are listening to the Friday night football pitch, which is getting recorded on a Thursday in the afternoon. But hey, it's normally would be the Friday night football pitch. As I say, we'll get Dennis Newell as always, co-hosting. And we're also joined, thanks very much to Barry Young, St Mirren fan. I'm not going to use the extraordinaire because anybody who's a fan of a small club, we're all extraordinary fans. We're going to discuss what's happening with Scotland. The Nations League didn't go off to the best of starts. We'll be looking at what's happening in the Scottish League and probably taking a wee look at English League, and we'll also be looking at what's happening in Europe as well. Next week, I'll have all this written down and I'll sound a lot better. But hey, I'm on holiday, so it's allowed. Dennis, good evening. How are we doing?
I'm fine, Cammy, and you've just let everybody know that I've got only tonight to break into your house before you get back.
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah. The wife's been checking around for your doorbell all week, especially on a Friday night or a Thursday night when I'm doing this.
I knew you.
Barry, that's more likely happened to you, obviously, staying in deepest, darkest next to Paisley. So, how's things with you?
Wait, you and Sunny, and we're good. Can't complain.
Good. Well, obviously, I've been over here and I've not seen much football. Nothing new there, to be honest, but I've definitely not seen much football at all. I did manage to catch the Scotland-Portugal game, and I did manage to obviously catch the Poland-Scotland game before last week. As I say, I had the girl that does entertainment in the bar that we go to, the Compare, etc. She was a wee bit annoyed with me on Sunday night when I sat and watched the Scotland game with my back to the stage. Well, obviously she's on the stage. It's not ideal when you're getting clipped in the ear by her and then clipped in the ear by the wife for telling the lassie to get stuffed, etc. Hey, that's what it is. 2-1 defeat, Dennis. It all started so well. I think I sent you a text. I turned my back for 2 minutes and there Scotland are up 1-0. Yeah. Good goal, but Portugal's defending very reminiscent of Scotland's, to be honest.
Well, you go back to the Thursday game where you had the Poland match, and we dissected that on the Friday, and it was, as we said, defensive errors. And I did text you on the Friday and said if we had another quarter of an hour, Scott McKenna could have chipped in with a goal as well. Well, he just waited till Sunday to do that. So, I worry as a minion of football. I look at, if I can pick out his mistakes with defence, why is he not picking them out? I just really find it so frustrating that they're blatant and he's done nothing about it. It really is. It's mind-boggling. Again, Scotland, I thought, played well enough, but you're not cashing in it and winning these games. There's always going to be a debate to say, well, what have we done wrong and how do we get it right? Well, if you're not going to change the team when people like myself are noticing the deficiencies, then you're going to be under pressure. But he seems to think it's okay. I'm baffled by the guy. I really am. Because if you've got a manager that's going to pick up the flaws in defence, you'll try people out there because you can't keep going on like that. And that's potentially, even if it was 2 points, would have been better than 0. And we've lost 3 games. When in actual fact, we could have won the Poland game and we might have got a draw out the Portugal game. So we could have been sitting with 4 points instead of 0. And that's the frustrating thing about it. And it's because the manager's not addressed this. If he has, I would like them to say, well, it's the only thing I've got. They're the only players I've got. What do we do? Well, we spoke about this last week. He's got to find other players that will fit the bill and do a job for Scotland. The midfield, I think, are very good. But unfortunately, you've got either side of the park, up front and defence. They've really got to be smartened up. Otherwise, we're not going to get any further in the next rounds that are coming up. And I mean, we've got Saturday the 12th of October. We've got Croatia away. And then on the Tuesday of that week, we've got Portugal at home. It'll be an interesting match as well. And I'm just glad Ronaldo didn't come on at the start of the game last week. But I can't say it is what it is, but we're a nation that basically should be picking up points and we're not.
Yeah. Barry, obviously, I think that Dennis says the second goal came for kind of Scott McKenna switching off a bit. Let's be kind. I had a discussion on social with a guy who felt that the goalkeeper wasn't to blame. Gunn wasn't to blame for the first goal, which had me a wee bit baffled because for every angle I watched, that looked like Angus Gunn should have made the save. I don't know if you agree with me or if you agree with the guy in social, but if you're a keeper, you get a hand stick, you should be saving it.
Yeah, that's we saying Pompadour hands, isn't it? Pompadour wrists. Is that your stuff, Dennis?
I've never heard of that one before. Barry, that must come from Paisley on the terraces.
But honestly, he got a good wrist to it, good hands to it. So you're thinking he could have even just pushed it past the post or whatever. But he had about 4 or 5 good saves in the game. Which you're like, well, that's what he's employed to do, isn't he? He's there to make the saves. But obviously, I thought he had a good game apart from that goal. Do you know what I mean? It really was. I thought quite weak. You know what I mean? Weak in his wrists. Yeah. But the defending's. It's as if he can't keep a concentration level for 90 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It's as if you're waiting for a mistake to come up. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't know. It's
see the thing I feel, Barry, is that if you're up against a team that's of a really good standard and they're running all over the top of you and they're having good moves and they're finishing well, I can live with that. But the two teams that we've played, we have gifted them the goals.
Yeah.
There's an element where we could have actually wiped out all of the goals. You've mentioned it there, concentration. I don't think better players were needed. I just think, as you say, concentration and being more positive about what you're going to do. Now, some players are not good enough to do that. It's proven. If we look at Hanley's tackle, absolutely schoolboy stuff. So we could go through all the goals, which we won't do. But the thing is, it was self-inflicted, the defeats. It wasn't great play for the opposition. Portugal were no great shakes on the night either. They'd certainly got better players than us. So I was expecting a little bit more, and I was expecting a bit more quality from them. Now, having said that, our midfield played very, very well, and therefore, I think that cancelled out Portugal's talent. So we've got to take a bonus from that. But when it comes to basic stuff, we just seem to be lacking. And that's the difference between success and failure.
Yeah. I don't remember Barry Scotland's midfield, unless we get back to days of Graham Souness and Billy Bremner. But Dennis, you're a wee bit older than us too. But I don't remember Scotland's midfield having as much creativity and ability as it has currently for quite some time. As I say, Scott McTominay, Billy Gilmer, guys in the centre of the park. These guys can almost run a game, and it's right. We need to get players around the guys to augment them. Throw in John McGinn as well, So, I mean, we definitely do have quality midfield players. Striker didn't do too badly at all. I thought he ran the central defence for Portugal ragged a wee bit. But it's defensively, which traditionally has been Scotland's strong point. Since the days of Craig Brown and even before that, Scotland's central defence and wing fullbacks have always been our strong point.
I totally agree, Cammy. I go back to still being a fair age when 1974 when we played in Germany, and that was the Brenma days, and the midfield was very, very good. But I think the opposition in the days were exceptional, not like they are now. So I would say we've got as good a midfield as anybody kicking about in Europe at this moment in time when they're all fit. We're maybe just one short, and I'm a wee bit disappointed that we've not got the full strength in there. Callum McGregor hanging his boots up, maybe, just maybe, he should have stayed until we got to the World Cup stages. Now we've really been very, very happy about the strength of the midfield we've got. But it certainly isn't a good place. Which is good to talk about a positive point of view. Up front, if you want to expand on that, up front we're still deficient, and I think Dykes, when he's in the mood, is a good forward. But beyond that, I don't see what we've got that's really setting the hell on fire and taking half chances.
Yeah. That is what it is. You know, definitely we need to find strikers. We need to find defenders. I was actually asked by an English person, or an Englishman. We can still say Englishman, can't we? But we're not allowed not to say that. But it's still words we can use. So I was asked by an Englishman, actually after the game, how I feel McTominay and Gilmour are going to settle in Italy. You know, and I think the two of them playing together can only do the national side the world of good.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I think McTominay certainly one of the players that you can say is massively improved, and as John McGinn. McGinn's went off the boil a little bit for scoring and being in the last third as much as he used to be. But McTominay seems to have taken over from that. But Scott McTominay, when he came into the team at first, I had reservations with him, as I'm sure people had with John McGinn. But they have both matured extremely well, and they do a great job for Scotland. There's no question of doubt about it. But Billy Gilmour, you could play him anywhere in the world. McTominay, I think he will really enjoy the Italian league. I think he's got a good physical presence, and he's strong as well. So yeah, I think the two of them will really set the hell on fire when they go over there to Italy.
Yeah, and getting them for sub £30 million, Barry, what an absolute steal when you look at some of the players that are floating about just now for 80, 90, 100 million quid. You know, for Napoli getting him for the money he got him for, Barry's outstanding.
I think it'll progress his career as well, and the money will only go up. I don't understand why Man United let him go, but obviously maybe it's to do with the money. I don't know, but I feel with the Scotland that there's too much negativity. Looking at that, there was periods in the game where we controlled. The passing was brilliant, but it's just defending that totally lets us down, and you need to build it for the back again. I mean, going back,
that's a problem. That's a problem we've established. You can't build it for the back. If you've got players that can't defend. Look, see if you're going forward and there's nobody near you, I could go out there and kick the ball, right? Simple as that. And nobody is really shutting the two defenders down. We have still to be tested in our defence, believe it, although we're giving them a bit of stick. We have not tested Hanley and McKenna under pressure. And why Poland and Portugal didn't push higher up the park and show their deficiencies, I will never know. There seems to be this thing now at club level and in internationals that the standoff defenders, where's the day gone that forwards went and worked their socks off to try and go and dispossess a defender? It never happens. And therefore what happens is, if you look at any centre-half and you talk to anyone, what's the worst thing they want? Is somebody running at them, right? Because their touch generally is not the best in the world. So therefore, when they go to clear it or make a pass, it can be sclaffed, it can be misplaced, it can be out the park. You have then got possession again. If you stand off them, they all look glossy. Oh, brilliant. Well, I'll just pick him out. I'll pick him out a wee 10-yard pass. Most people can do that. So the thing is, we have not been tested to that point, and I'm just hoping these teams continue to do it in the same vein. But somebody's going to click one game, and you'll find that we're in real trouble then. Yeah. So you can't build for the back other than what we've got at this moment in time. And I don't think it's sufficient.
Would you change your keeper?
No, not at this moment in time. I don't think your keeper's getting... Who else are you going to put in? No. I mean, Gordon's seen better days. I still think he's a good goalkeeper. But at this moment in time, if you look at John McCracken, I don't know much about him. Xander Clark, well, we know he can play, but if you look at that as potentially being your four, if you were looking at four, and Gordon's not even was in the squad, so you're tossing a coin with him, and you're looking for defenders to help the goalkeepers out.
Yeah.
You know, I know it was a bit sloppy in the way he went down for that and they got a goal out of it. Well, fair enough. But look at all the aspects of the game that he actually played exceptionally well. And I don't think you can fault him. He's made one mistake, and you could say, well, McKenna could turn around and say the same. I only made one mistake. You know, but that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at the bigger picture here. For changing the goalkeeper, at this moment in time, I don't think that's where our major problem is.
what about looking ahead, moving forwards, and progressing the squad? What about moving it to up front? And like we've been asked, obviously, on the YouTube comments about Lennon Miller, Dennis.
Yeah, well, look, I'm open-minded to have a go at any, but the thing is that you've got the manager who just seems to, you watch that, it's the same old. Lawrence Shanklin's not starting. The boy Conway is going on at a late part of the game. If Lyndon Dykes is not doing it in the first half, I would change it and I'll get people to work a bit harder. I like Dykes if he's on form, but I sometimes think that it depends how you get him at the start of a game. 1 minute he looks magnificent, and the next minute I go, well, he's still a Livingston player, son. You know, that doesn't work with me. And then I look at the boy with Southampton. What's his name? Shea Adams. Yeah. I mean, he'll be back in the squad. There's no question of doubt about it when he's available. Yeah. So, you know, it's the same old. You've got to freshen up. And it doesn't need a lot. It doesn't need a lot. You don't have to rebuild a whole team. Seriously, it doesn't have to rebuild a whole team.
So four more games in this tournament then. And moving ahead, do we plan to not finish bottom, or do we take the chance and finish bottom and blood a few youngsters, like Lennon Miller, like the boy Conway up front? You know, do we start making some changes, or is it going to be a case of Steve Clarke, same old, and a wee bit of self-preservation?
Well, he's more or less seen everybody now. You know, who's he going to blood in there? For me,
well, that's what I'm saying. You've got Miller. He's not Conway gets 20 minutes. That's it. You know, so.
Well, it depends if he wants to do this. He's not going to qualify. He's not going to qualify if he continues in the same vein. That's my opinion of it. If he bloods people in, it's not a matter, Cammy, of losing our position in this. My view would be, if you're going to play them and blood them in, you're still going to try and qualify. And I think there's a good chance you can qualify. But he's got to introduce people that can last the 90 minutes in relation to concentration and who can give us goals as well. Now, how does he do that? Well, he'll maybe need to look at maybe one or two players before the next game, which, as I say, is the 12th of October, or put the youngsters in that are maybe on the bench and available for them.
Yeah. Certainly, I think we need to look at making some changes if we're looking to qualify, you know, and I think it might well be the only way we are going to qualify for the World Cup is through this tournament. So let's see how we go. But again, I think that's a good while we've spent on Scotland. You see another month to the next game, Dennis. So I think the good thing is this weekend we're back to league business. Obviously, the Scottish League is back, and in conjunction, as always, with Football Kits _Scotland, who we will have a giveaway, by the way, in conjunction with. So anybody listening, stay tuned next week and the following week for news of that giveaway. You could win a football top. But as I say, if you want to...
I hope it's no Clyde. It'll not be a gift.
I've already spoke to him. He doesn't have any Clyde tops. You're all right. So no, that wouldn't be a Clyde top. You're all right. Can't give them away just now, mate.
Don't worry about it. It'll come good.
But as I say, in conjunction with our sponsor at Football Kits Scotland, Dennis, let's start looking ahead to some of the league fixtures this weekend.
Yeah, well, can we just go back and just look at, before we look at the fixtures, because it is relevant, and we can look at just briefly one or two. The Saturday the 31st, your team drawn with St Mirren, Barry, because you're on 2 each. Was that a good result against Dundee up at Dundee?
I would have took a point before the game. Obviously went into the lead twice and then lost it, come back for a draw. But the two strikers both scoring, which is a positive as well. Obviously, we've signed Kevin Van Veen, but he's yet obviously to be tested, see if he's fit enough. I don't think he'd done a lot for Kilmarnock in the last season. So I would have took a point. Dundee are kind of flying just now. So, but I think most of it was round about McGowan. Do you know what I mean? But he's away to Celtic now. So
we'll they've only won one game. They've had 3 draws, but it's been enough to keep them in 6th spot.
Yeah. I think the thing with us in Kilmarnock is, I think the last time I was on, the European thing was a distraction. But
Yeah,
now
that's it.
your bread
Yeah.
and butter. Just get
Yeah.
down to the nitty gritty now.
Yeah.
But I would have took a draw before the game.
Yeah. Motherwell beat St Johnstone 2-1, and Ross County went down 1-0 to Aberdeen. And then on the Sunday, it was Rangers went down 3-0 at Parkhead to Celtic. Hearts were beat again by Dundee United 1-0, and Kilmarnock and Hibs drew 1 each. And as you mentioned, Cammy, the fixtures for tomorrow is Aberdeen were playing Motherwell, Celtic have got Hearts, Hibs, St Johnstone, Ross County, Dundee, St Mirren, Kilmarnock, and then in the Sunday, Dundee United have got Rangers. So there's a few tasty ties in there. And you know, we keep talking about what ifs and managers moving and all the rest of it. I think that if you look at the Old Firm, Celtic's taking care of themselves, Rangers are letting other people take care of them. And that's my fear. I think on Sunday, the Dundee United game is a big turning point. You might say already. Well, it is to me, because one, if Rangers can beat Dundee United, which I think they will, believe it or not, I think they will, they'll get a result.
Yeah.
But if they don't, what does that tell you about Rangers then? That means then that we've got teams in that division that are going to take points off Rangers. And it also means, that means a lot in real terms, because if Dundee United can win the game and win it well, there may be a challenge against Celtic.
Yeah.
And there's a whole load of different permutations when I'm thinking about it. That basically it's not just a straightforward game, because if Rangers beat Dundee United, then where are Celtic going to drop points?
Yeah.
And that's my thought. If Rangers can turn them over on Sunday, then who's going to lay a glove on Celtic? So that is another point to be taken from that game. And as I say, if Dundee United can manage to beat Rangers and they're strong, then you might think, can they go and beat Celtic? Because Celtic's a target in my head now. You've got to make sure that if you're wanting to get something out of this division, you need to make sure that you're taking points off Celtic if you're the Rangers of this world, because you're not going to win the league unless other teams take points off Celtic, because Rangers at this moment in time are way off the mark for getting the results against Celtic they're looking for throughout the season.
Yeah, but I think we're having to look at Aberdeen being the close. I mean, I know obviously they are the level on points with Celtic, but I mean, you're looking at it, Barry, that Aberdeen, if they can maintain any kind of level of form, they probably could well be the closest challengers to Celtic, because Rangers are a mile away.
Yeah, I don't think Rangers' last performance against Celtic said it all, but I mean, they were champion beaters winning 6-0 against Ross County, and then they can't perform against Celtic. But you're right with Aberdeen. What's that? Play 3-1-3, or is it more?
No,
Four.
four.
Play 4-1-4.
Yeah.
Because I heard that they were singing at the end that we're going to win the league. Is that right after the last game?
It's some difference to what the Rangers supporters are singing at the end of their last game.
But Aberdeen are looking strong. New manager, do you know what I mean? They're looking quite good.
Well, if you look at the results, you know, are the teams that they've played and got their 4 results, are they the teams that are going to be challenging for the top? You've Ross County, as you mentioned, Kilmarnock, who are at the bottom of the league, could beat them 2-0. And then you look at beating your own team, Barry, 3-1.
Yeah.
And then the other team was St Johnstone. So with the exception possibly of St Mirren being the strongest out of that pack, they've not come up against the ones that you would expect would be a tough challenge to them.
But these are games. These are games last year that Aberdeen would either have lost or dropped points in. You know, well, so there's definite progress up there, Dennis.
Well, if you look at it, right up to near the end, Rangers were looking good until they played Ross County and Dundee, and the whole season turned upside down for them. So everybody has got to be looking at taking points off each other. That's the way the league is. But are we too early to start deciding what the top 6 are? You would say it's the same old and the same old, but there's Hibs and Hearts are way down the bottom of the league. So, you know, there's a point here where it's going to be, I think it's going to be a right good season, because you're not going to find that Hearts and Hibs are down there. and also St Mirren, who will pick up again. They've had a wee bad spell there where they've only won the first league game. But the teams that are really proving worthwhile to me just now are Dundee United, Motherwell and Dundee. Aberdeen's expected to be up there. The three I've just mentioned there, maybe not so. So the teams are not going to lie down to the rest of the league. And there's a lot of hard work when you look at Kilmarnock sitting down the bottom, lost 3 and drawn 1. And they've no looked good, so it's looking very, very good for the fixtures coming up. And that takes us to maybe looking at the St Mirren and Kilmarnock game. Barry, how do you think that'll go?
I possibly think another draw. I'd love to say a home win, but I'm looking as if a score draw. Still get good quality players in there, but as I said, the Thursday nights with the Sundays was a distraction. And then obviously Rangers are need to go through this with the Europa Cup as well. Celtic playing on a Saturday, Rangers on a Sunday. But now that's byway. I hope we just get down to nitty gritty now. But I'm hoping for a home win. Yeah.
Well, again, you've got two teams that I've just mentioned there. One's at the bottom of the league and one's nearly at the bottom in the next 2 weeks. You've got St Mirren playing Hearts on the 21st. So you've got a great opportunity. You get 6 points for that.
Yeah.
You're flying.
No, well, definitely. I think there's something wrong with Hearts. They've got good players there, but there's definitely he's under pressure. The next couple of weeks, they'll be calling for his head.
Yeah, well, again, if I think if he loses heavily to Celtic Saturday, then I think he's really under pressure. I don't think that game would probably be the one that come down on top of him. I think the game against yourselves would maybe be the turning point. You need to wait and see on that one, I think.
Yeah.
But he did start off, by the way, I thought they were excellent against Rangers at the start of the season. I thought good. Hearts are going to be competing here for the top of the league. And since then, they've not kicked the ball. And I think they've still got a good squad. It's like everything else. You can't have your highs and your lows in football. And maybe they've had, as you've said about Kilmarnock, the distraction of the European ties. I said that last week as well. And maybe now they can concentrate fully on the league, which is really, let's be serious about it. That's your bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For clubs like St Mirren, for clubs like Kilmarnock, at the moment, who don't have the massive squad to be able to cope, they definitely do need to be concentrating on league business. You're obviously out of one of the cups already, Barry. So as I say, it gives you that chance to just concentrate on the league.
Yeah, definitely. And you always get it. Is it the quarterfinals coming up in a couple of weeks as well? Was it next weekend?
No,
not too sure, but that'll be another 3 week. But you're hoping to get points on the board this weekend, and then there'll be another stop, and then start again. So you just need to get into a good run.
It's very stop start the season so far at this time.
We had that conversation last week when I asked the question when teams are or when there's international duty. Most of the teams in the lower divisions don't have any players at it. So why are we having a break from it?
Yeah,
I look at it and say if you've got a player that's in the squad and there's more than one, then your game should be cancelled. And it's a point I made out. If your players on the African nations, they just got hauled away and away they go. And that happens big time in England. So why should it not happen up here? If you've got a couple of players that are, and say St Mirren's got 2 players in the Scotland squad, and you mentioned last week, Cammy, and I had a thought you're thinking about this. You mentioned what about the youngsters that are under 21 duty? Well, the bulk of these players will probably not be playing in the first team on the under 21s. But again, if so, and if had a certain amount of minutes and time played, say it was in Hibs, and they've got 2 players in the Scotland under 21 team, and they've played, say, out of 4 games, have maybe played an hour, then you've got the opportunity your game can be cancelled rather than just saying, we've got players out and we're going to cancel the game, or a reason to play the game. There's ifs and buts about it, but my personal thoughts are we end up with a congested fixture list and players, supporters are sitting about twiddling their thumbs, waiting in the Scotland games coming up, and not everybody's 100% happy with having to do that.
Yeah. Moving into the Championship, Dennis, how are we looking in terms, obviously, there? And you had an appointment, I believe, while I've been away. Raith Rovers have appointed a new manager.
Yes, and I'm trying to recall who it was. Did you?
Neil Collins.
That's right. Yeah, and he was at Barnsley, I think. Yeah, and he played with Tampa. Yeah, he's been down south, and I think he played. My recall Sheffield United when he was down there. That was most of his games as well. Don't know a lot about him. He's obviously coming back up north, and it'll be interesting. But I think that's without knowing the ins and outs of it, coming for Barnsley Wraith Rovers, with no disrespect, is a great signing for the club.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait and see where that one comes from.
I know he wasn't playing for Tampa on Sunday night there. He definitely wasn't playing for them on Sunday. When he does a beating anyway, that boy Collins. Right. He wasn't playing for Tampa, that's for sure. The Buccaneers roasted us on Sunday night, so there you are.
Well, I didn't even know that was happening. There you are. I'm an anorak. the wrong sport. We'll get games on tonight. Or a game, Dunfermline against Wraith Rovers. What a cracking tie that'll be. I think that'll be well supported to a Friday night at Dunfermline.
Right. So that's tomorrow night, Dennis.
Sorry, I'm mixed up because
you're still Thursday.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm completely gubbed. I have no idea what day of week it is. I don't know where I am at the time. That's the morning when I'm sober.
I'm used to us doing it on a Friday night. That's what's catching me out. Anyway, so Dunfermline tomorrow night will be Wraith Rovers with a 7:45 kickoff. And then we move into the Saturday games, which is Airdrie Falkirk, Ayr United, Partick Thistle, Livingston, Hamilton, and Queen's Park against Morton. Ayr United, having drawn their last game, did they slip? I don't know, but that's five games played, 4 victories and 1 draw. So Ayr United, are actually flying. And it'll be a big test for them on Saturday when they've got Falkirk. I've lost the plot here. They've got Partick Thistle. They've got Partick Thistle, Ayr United. I've got Partick Thistle, and that'll be a really tough tie for Partick Thistle, I think, because Ayr United are really strong now.
Yeah, as you say, they dropped points in their last game, but and obviously that was against Dunfermline. So who were bottom of the table at the time, but still Thistle will be it's a tie. I think you would expect United to win at Somerset Park, that's for sure. But who knows? Barry, you'll obviously be hoping still your tip to win that league.
They're flying there, to be honest. And then you've got to mention Falkirk as well coming up. They've done well as well just now, but it's the 3 at the bottom: Wraith, Dunfermline, and Morton. Do you know what I mean? You would expect a wee bit more from them, but they're struggling. Stennis says Wraith playing Dunfermline Friday night. One of them's hoping to get the win there to boost them a wee bit up the table.
Yeah, well, that would kickstart Dunfermline's season. There's no doubt about it. And Wraith Rovers, obviously, with a new manager, and see if it injects anything into them. But the 2 of them sitting down there with Wraith Rovers with 3 points and Dunfermline 1, are 2 teams that you wouldn't look at the league and go, "Where's Dunfermline? Where's Wraith Rovers? Oh, they're at the bottom." Don't think so. Well, that's where they are, and I think that'll change. I think they give it another 3 or 4 weeks, and they'll be up into the middle of the table and start to push on a wee bit more. But having said that, I think Dunfermline for a while now, we've always thought that they had the strength to push on and get out of that division, and it's never happened.
Yeah, Barry giving Falkirk some big ups, but I think obviously last weekend Falkirk went down 5-4 to near neighbours Stenhousemuir. I think you'd think Stenhousemuir had won the Scottish Cup the way the things that I'd managed to catch on social over here, certainly ending Falkirk's unbeaten streak, they were saying. So fair play to Stenhousemuir.
They'll still say they're unbeaten in the league, though, won't they? That's what they'll be saying.
I know.
But I seen that last week. Obviously, there was a couple of upsets last week as well. But they've done well this season so far. But they would say that's a wee. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. A Diddy Cup, is it?
It is. Just because it's Birmingham, isn't it?
It was penalties anyway. You don't count penalties.
But anyway, as I say, that's one of these things. Stenhousemuir will take the plaudits, quite rightly so, from that. And as you say, Barry, Falkirk said it doesn't really matter. We're looking for promotion to the Premier League, or at least to progress in the cup when the ties come out when they're playing against Celtic in the next couple of weeks.
No, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
That's a great day for a team that started off well. I don't think they'll win the game, but I'll tell you what, it's a great day for them. The confidence will go to Parkhead, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think really that'll be a good day out for them.
Dennis, as we say, who's to say that at the time when these two clubs play, that might not be Celtic's toughest game to date? You know, and I can still see that. You know, that the Celtic, if they don't take Falkirk seriously, and Falkirk just get that wee 10% boost from the fact that they are going to Celtic Park, that could still end up a difficult tie for Celtic, because I'm quite sure Falkirk will feel that they're in with a shout at taking a surprise there.
Well, you have been in the sun for a week, so I'll accept that from you.
What are you going to say, 2 weeks? Come on. As I said, the only way I'm getting back out to Scotland next week's by boat. You know, so
after that,
they're not going to let me out of the airport.
After that statement, a Falkirk potentially beating Celtic, I don't think so. Celtic are miles ahead now. Honestly, they're miles ahead. There's something else in Scotland that is actually.
I didn't say they would beat them. I said it could end up being their most difficult tie to date.
Yes, you did.
I mean, see how easy it was against Rangers, how easy it's been against Hibs, and the other games they've played in the league. It could well be, as I say, at that point in time, the hardest game.
The thing is, the bookies will write them off anyway.
Yeah.
Aye. That's it.
Well, I don't know about the hardest game, because they've got Slovan Bratislava on the 18th before they play Falkirk. So you can pull that one back if you like. But
right, okay, I'll stop it then. I'll stop. But the toughest game in Scotland.
That's better, right? You've got it then.
Just ask Gordon Strachan how tough Slovan Bratislava can be.
Yeah, well, I did mention it to him. We went to referees do that the week after it, and I just dropped it into the conversation. And if Luke's could have killed me, it certainly would have. He wasn't happy.
Yeah, he never is. He never is. Anyway, looking at the League One now, Dennis. Moving ahead.
What we've got on Saturday, I keep needing to check myself. This is no Friday, because I'm liable to say tomorrow. Alloa have Inverness Cali, Annan have got Dumbarton, Kelty Hearts, Cove Rangers, Montrose, Stenhousemuir, and Queen of the South have Arbroath. So when we look at the league table, we're sitting there with Kelty Hearts at the top. Would you believe that, Barry? You'll have a wee bit interest in that.
No, definitely not. Do you know what I mean? They've come up obviously for the Lowland League and they've done well. But I wouldn't expect Arbroath to be down at the bottom either. You know what I mean? I think they've been in free fall since Dick Campbell has left. Still managerless. I presume they're still managerless. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, I haven't heard of any appointment yet.
No, I haven't. But you may have. I don't know. But the thing is, Arbroath.
Well, that's Fitzy. You should be able to find that out, Barry.
What's that?
You should be able to have a wee text message to Fitzy and see.
see who's the next favourite.
Could well be him.
It'll not be an easy tie for them on Saturday, Arbroath. They're down at Queen of the South, who are sitting fourth in the league.
Yeah.
5 games played. They've lost 2 Queens, lost the last 2. And then the 2 victories and then a draw the first game of the season. But Arbroath are sitting there with 3 draws and 2 defeats. So I don't think that's a glamorous tie, but they'll need to work their socks off if they get out to Dumfries for that one.
Yeah, done a couple of doors into victories, and you should see them climbing that table. There's
not much in it. You know, when you look at that division, although Kelty's sitting at the top, they're not looking like Aberdeen has won 4 games or Falkirk, as we mentioned, the division above. They're sitting there with 2 victories. Stenhousemuir are the ones that have actually 3 victories, but they've lost 2 games, whereas Kelty have drawn 3. So 3 points each. Alloa, 2 victories, 3 draws. So you've got 3 teams at the top sitting on 9 points, and then Arbroath on 3. So it's only a 2/3 match swing in relation to getting to the top of the league. It's nothing at this stage. So if you're going to be at the bottom of the league, you just hope that the teams at the top are not running away with it. And at this moment in time, I think that division is like that. And there's very little. 9 down to 3.
Still early days. And League 2, it finishes off.
League 2 is Clyde have Edinburgh City, Elgin have Bonnyrigg Rose, Peterhead, Stirling Albion, Spartans have Forfar Athletic, and Stranraer have East Fife. There's a game on Tuesday the 17th, which is Elgin City are playing Spartans.
Spartans, that'll be the game that was lost due to the cup exploits of Spartans. So,
yeah. I mean, the Spartans, you just look at them and you say to yourself, well, 6th in the table, doing okay. Can they get up that league? Because they've got cup ties, and that to me is always a distraction when you're in one of the lower clubs. And, again, I'll go back to the words bread and butter. That's your league positions. The cups are always nice, and a nice juicy tie for them they've got, and we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But Clyde against Edinburgh City, Cammy, three defeats in the bounce now. What's going to happen with your team, Clyde?
Well, I'm back for that game. As I say, I thought I was going to get a break for football, but been over here. But obviously there was no games last weekend with the international break, so I'll be back in time to catch that game at New Douglas Park. I've said it the last couple of weeks. I would expect at some point in time a response from what's happening on the park, of response on the park. I know a couple of weeks ago when we had Dean on discussing the East Fife game, and he was saying, well, there we go, we're going to find that Jordan Allen's going to get a start and whatever else. We know he's going to take his place in the strikers, but his place up front. And Jordan Allen actually started that game on the bench, and McCall again seems to struggle to find his best side. Defensively that day, Clyde were absolutely shocking, and that's probably with two of the best centre halves in the league. Unfortunately, Ian McCall persists in playing one of them at right back. I understand there should be changes for this weekend, or I would certainly expect to see changes this weekend. Whether that's he's going to be bringing Logan Donaghy back into the side, obviously that's the guy that was sent off against Bonnyrigg, or whether he's going to start Jordan Allen up front, or perhaps bring Lee Hamilton. Listen to me, sounds if I know what I'm talking about. Bring Lee Hamilton from the right back into his traditional centre half position. I don't know, but I would certainly expect some kind of changes, because Ian McCall, with the biggest budget in that league, and certainly the biggest budget Clyde managers had for quite some time, is going to have to start turning things around, and start turning things around very quickly before Clyde start to get isolated from the sides at the top of that table. And as I say, expectations among Clyde fans this season were very, very high. I know, obviously, Clyde just stayed up or avoided the playoffs on the second last day of the season, or on the last day of the season last year, which led to McCall getting that 2-year extension. But I do not think that Clyde's expectations were such that the club would be floundering after 5 games, and it does need to turn things around very, very quickly.
Yeah. When you look at Saturday's game, Edinburgh City and Clyde are both sitting on the same points.
Yeah.
There's only the goal difference of -4 and -6. That's what you're talking about. Both have lost 3 games. The most recent is obviously Clyde losing the last 3.
Yeah.
He's a 1-1 and drawn 1, the same as Edinburgh City. So there's nothing between you. But there's a strong case for saying if the manager's going to be there, he needs to win the next 2 games, which is against Elgin, who are in a position where they've drawn 2, they've won 2.
Yeah. It's this game at the weekend, and I think it's Elgin and Peterhead are the next 2.
If Peterhead go out there and beat Stirling Albion on Saturday, they're flying, because they're sitting comfortable at the top.
And Stirling Albion are not a good side. I've seen Stirling Albion; they're not a good side.
So the way I look at it is, Clyde must beat Edinburgh City. You must get something out of Elgin City, and then you take it as it comes along with Peterhead. And I think I mentioned this back maybe about a month ago when we were actually looking at the leagues, that's how you want to look at what you're getting out of these next games within the month of September. Because if you don't pick up points with at least the 2 games I've mentioned. I don't think he's probably got a future there. But that's only me reason. That's not me thinking that's what should happen. That's what I'm thinking will be the case, because the next 3 games in this month are crucial for Clyde, because you will get left stranded if there's 9 points up for grabs and you don't get any of them. I'll tell you what, you're in trouble.
Dennis, I think he's going to take 7 points out of 9. I think he's going to win the next 2, and at worst, got a draw at against Peterhead. You know, because I say the club has got the biggest budget within that league. You know, I'm led to believe they do have quite a big budget within League 2. You know, but within the lower league in Scotland, or the lowest league in Scotland. And as I say, the expectations, I'm quite sure, of the fans, I'm quite sure the expectations of the board were not that after 5 games, Clyde would be sitting having won one. And by the way, that was I'm saying a very fortunate when they were sort of struggled against Stranraer in the first half. Should have won by 3 or 4 in the second. But again, their usual problems in front of goal haunted them. The game up at Forfar was grim. And as I say, the home game against Stirling Albion, the defeat, they lost 2-0 in a game that they really should have won. I think, as we said a couple of weeks ago, they had a couple of shots. Stirling Albion had 1 shot goal and managed to score 2 goals. You know, that doesn't happen very often. But as I say, unlike the expectation, I'm quite sure Barry St Mirren will be quite happy with a top 6 finish again in terms of the budget and the money they've spent. The expectations at New Douglas Park is, at the very, very least, automatic promotion, if not going up through the playoffs, I'm quite sure.
Well, looking at your form coming into the tail end of last season, and then obviously your survival, was that what you expect? Was you expecting mid-table, or are you expecting playoffs?
Oh, I think at the very least the expectation was top 4, at the very least. And as I say, I think they were bookies' favourites at the start of the season. Bookies very rarely get it so drastically wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, it still is only 5 games. But they have looked
surprised with the budget.
very
I'm surprised with the budget. I didn't know that they were one of the biggest budgets in that division, though.
Yeah, so I'm led to believe, as I say, they have got one of the biggest budgets, possibly Peterhead. I mean, as I say, when I watched them against East Fife last week, Stirling Albion, as I say, had nothing at all. Stranraer, very mediocre side. Forfar have got nothing. You know, I mean, I look at what the players Clyde have got. They've obviously got a lad on loan for Falkirk, Jordan Allen, who, as I say, by and large has not kicked his own arse. You know, really in front of goal. The best game he was having, he was against Stirling Albion, and he get weeked off 60 minutes into the game. You know, in a game where, as I say, I think that was definitely the best he was playing, and probably a game he deserved to stay on for. But no, as I say, I'm led to believe the club do have a decent sized budget, and I'm pretty sure the expectations were not to be sitting in the bottom 3 of the league after 5 games.
Well, anyway, what you can do is you can wait until next weekend after you dip your toe into the real football, because the Champions League's on next week. So you've got the opportunity there, Cammy, with Clyde to win the next 2 games, and all will be forgiven, and you get into the Peterhead game with a bit of confidence, and then you see where you're going for there. And a lot will change between now and the end of the month, as we spoke about maybe 3-4 weeks ago. So, I can see your concerns, but I think you've got to have faith when the next 2 games come and go, and then you'll have a better picture, I think.
Hey, listen, the big games on Sunday. New York Giants coming to Washington. So, as I say, that's the big game. Clyde can do what they like. That's the big game. We need to beat the New York Giants. Against the New York Giants, we've been as bad as Rangers have looked against Celtic in the last 10 games. You know, we've been as bad against New York Giants. The thing is, we only played them twice a season, but we've been absolute shocking. A few of my friends have been over for that game. I'll be there next year for this game, you know, the home opener next season. But as I say, a few of my pals in the States to watch that game just now. So just a reference to guys, Scotty Hartley, Andy Burrows, Scouse Andy, just some guys who I know occasionally watch this podcast. So the jammy bar stewards are over there just now.
Anyway, I'm speechless. I don't know
I was
what
going to say, I've done it, Barry. I kept them quiet.
I'm lost in that.
How'd you answer that?
It's a wee bit like pain time for me. I know there's millions love it, but I've just never had time to get into it. But yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Looking at the Champions League stages for Tuesday, just a couple that might whet your appetite. Bayern Munich have got Dynamo Zagreb. Milan have got Liverpool. There's a cracker. Real Madrid, Stuttgart, and then on young boys have got Aston Villa, just the fact that they're English. Juventus, PSV. Bologna, Donetsk they've got. Celtic have got Bratislava, as I mentioned earlier.
Not young boys.
Yeah, Club Brugge have got Borussia Dortmund, and Man City have got Inter Milan. PSG have got Girona, sorry. I'm just looking at what's available. Atalanta have got Arsenal on the Thursday, and I'm looking to see Monaco. I've got Barcelona. And that was sums up. There is some other cracking ties in that, but we'll be there all night going through them. But yeah, Champions League's back. Looking forward to it. Also looking forward to some of these ties that we've discussed tonight. It's looking really good. I think the fact that we're dissecting them a wee bit more than we've done before is good, and I think there's a lot of enjoyable games out there for the weekend, and a lot of important ones, and nothing more important than Dundee United are playing Rangers.
Yeah, indeed. Well, as we say, guys, Scottish football is back. The Friday night football pitch hasn't missed an episode, even though I've been sunning myself in Gran Canaria for a couple of weeks. Next week, we are back to Friday night live at 7 o'clock with myself and Dennis. We're still to get another guest booked as of yet, but we're in negotiations with 3 or 4. I'm going into Las Palmas yesterday to see if I could get Scott McKenna on the show, but he says he wasn't going to set himself up for that. So, unfortunately, we're not going to get him. He's not going to be in the podcast. But what I will say, guys, is please like, subscribe to the shows, tell all your pals we're on YouTube. You can obviously get some YouTube comments. We've had a few on the show tonight. Thanks very much, as always, for them. Thanks very much to Barry Young. Either the two of you get anything to say before we switch things off?
No, we'll keep your fingers crossed for Clyde and Saturday, Cammy. I know you're a massive fan. And similarly, Barry, the next time you're on, you'll be up there challenging a bit more. I know it's been a wee bit of a poor area since the Europe thing, but certainly started off really well.
Yeah, I hope so. Get Van Veen fit.
Yeah.
And Cammy, well done for doing that when you're on holiday, mate.
Yeah.
What can I say? Hey, you'll never guess. I'm meeting Big Phil tomorrow, Barry.
Who?
What lunch with Big Stuart tomorrow?
Oh, right, good.
The 6'10" proclaimer. So lunch tomorrow before my flight. I will do. Guys, thanks very much. Dennis, I shall catch up with you when I'm back. Yes. Barry, I'll give you a wee shout. We'll get something sorted for an afternoon one day.
No bother,
thanks very much for stepping in. And good you made it on time.
Good to speak to you again, Barry.
No bother, Dennis. See you later.
Cheers.
See you later. Bye now. Bye-bye.